The Department of Justice says it critically needs more money to proceed with the January 6th investigation. The future of the federal criminal investigation into the Capitol riot is now dependent on appropriations who craft funding bills to keep the government running. The Justice Department has told Congress that more than $34 million in funding is required. The Justice Department has called January 6th the most wide-ranging investigation in its history. But the work is far from over, and the department needs more resources to move full speed ahead. According to one official, there's also a lack of manpower. Congress has until December 16th to work on a funding agreement. According to reports, the lawmakers involved in the talks say the fate of the Justice request is still unsettled. Senior lawmakers also said they're not aware that the future of the January 6th investigation could depend on the next budget round. Meanwhile, a New York attorney has been accused of assaulting law enforcement officers during the US Capitol riot. According to court documents, John O'Kelly of East Williston, Long Island, allegedly illegally made his way to the west front of the Capitol grounds, where rioters were fighting with law enforcement officers attempting to maintain a police perimeter on January 6, 2021. The 66-year-old is accused of attempting to disarm a US Metropolitan Police officer. Now, for more on this, Susan Tehrani joins us live from New York. Susan, good to have you on again. Just tell us more about the details of this particular case.
Yeah, it seems like the Justice Department is a little bit concerned right now, considering the fact that we might see a red wave come next year in January. And this January 6th committee and the rioters and everything that's related to this might go on the back burner, despite the fact that the Biden administration's Justice Department has had some 18 to 20 months to bring these perpetrators of the riots to justice. They still need more time, and they need more resources and more money. And if there are more Republicans ultimately in the House and the Senate, then perhaps more funding won't be passed, and funding will be going to more important stuff. So it sort of seems like at this point, the Justice Department is trying to get as much funding as possible, while there is a chance when the Democrats sort of have that chance. Even now, in this December budget, that they're asking for this enormous funding for this small part of the Justice Department's, budget, it's very unlikely that the Republicans and Democrats will come to a conclusion. It's also important to note that what we have right now is more than 870 arrests, and we also have about 93 federal prosecutors' offices from across the country who are volunteer personnel. 870 arrests, 20 months, and then asking for this additional budget. Many might argue that it's a bit overblown, considering the fact that we have rampant crime, retail crime, arson and other issues that are devastating cities across the United States that need more budget to deal with, and then the Justice Department coming in asking for a budget for the January 6th. So it's yet to be seen how this is all going to pan out, but it really does seem like, let's try to get this budget while we can, while we have the Democrats on Capitol Hill on our side before next year, where we're probably never, ever going to get something like this passed. And even now, it's very unlikely.
Well, Susan, thank you very much for getting us up to speed with this. I'm sure we'll touch base again on how those budget negotiations are proceeding. That was Susan Tehrani, our correspondent in New York.